Welcome back to The Watch, and we have an interesting discussion in this video because I've been thinking about the rise of AI girlfriends, and if you think it isn't going that way,
Well, to be fair, Shad, AI just plagues your mind on a daily basis.
for a number of reasons. Because there are things I really like about AI, and there are things that I think we should rightly be concerned about.
Fair.
I think I have a more nuanced view of AI, where I'm not just unhinged hating, where everything is bad, but I'm not so deluded and on the bandwagon where it's all good.
Good, because there are some issues with AI to talk about, and we're going to discuss some
We
of these
are
now.
going to discuss, but before we do that, we're Night's Watch. We're on the watch, and so I think it's rather appropriate that now we have Night's Watch watches.
So, where did we get these watches from, Shad?
Well, a company called Valamore reached out to us to sponsor a video. And if you are wondering that we only took this sponsorship because we wanted nice free watches, you would be absolutely right. That is exactly why we took on this sponsorship. Because these watches, look, they're very nice.
They're nice. I like my watch.
Don't worry, we'll get some B-roll and everything to show you guys. We're going to
close-ups.
Yes, some close-ups. We're going to talk about these a little quickly because, first off, I am actually a watch collector.
I was surprised about that. You're a connoisseur.
Yeah, I actually
You're a
have.
watch snob.
Yeah, I forced Nathan
The
to
Last
my
of
collection.
Us,
Yeah.
he has no issue with it except for the fact that she changed the battery in the watch and not the spring. Nothing else was wrong, but that little thing set him off.
Yeah, because it's ridiculous. It's like blinker fluid. It's like that thing again.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, but
Because that's interesting. These watches, they run on springs.
Yes, they do. They have,
so you wouldn't replace the battery on these watches.
Yes, they have Miyota 8315 movement, which is a bit of a standard movement. However,
You can see the movement
Yes.
on the back. It's really cool.
that's a common thing. I feel like I should add that.
I am not a watch connoisseur, as you can tell.
But
This is cool. You can see they're like, wow.
I did want to talk a little bit about these watches because I've been surprised at the level of detail. Now, usually when you get a watch brand, when they create their own watches and they outsource the movement, this is a very common thing that happens. They don't put in that much effort. They'll slap their name on the dial and that's it. I've been surprised at what these guys have been doing. Don't worry, we're going to show you everything because there's a lot of details here. They've done their own custom dials. Now, the dial is the most important part of a watch. I think anybody knows that. And they've done this like dragon scale sort of dial. And I really like it. And then even the inner bezel, they've done some custom engraving work.
And they even have like medieval sword-like features, like the handles on the watch part.
Yeah.
They're made to look like swords.
Even things like the grip, like a rubber grip, they've actually injection molded their own one. That's normally they just outsource it with a blank one. This is a bit of a custom one. And then they've even done the balance wheel on the back as well. That's the bit that you like.
Yeah. But also like the little
clasp.
buckle here looks medieval flavored. It looks great.
I've been surprised because I'm actually surprised about the detail in these things. Like we can get into things like specifications, things like that. It has a unidirectional bezel. It's water resistant. We've always been very good. Resistant up to 10 atoms, 100 meters basically. In terms of everything else we spoke about the movement before, it's a Miyota Japanese movement. I think these are actually not bad.
They're pretty nice.
Especially when you look at other things in the price range, which I have other watches in the price range. They nowhere near go into as much like little tiny details.
You are the right person to have in this sponsorship.
Yeah, I know, right? And then they have this little thing in here that Nathan showed me.
a little art book.
Yeah, a little art book.
Little bits of art.
I actually thought this was a nice little touch.
At first I was like, is it a manual? Is it some sort? It's just art. Art pieces.
It's just a little thank you with the little bits of art. I really like that.
That is great. So this video is sponsored by Valamore. If you guys are interested, we'll put a link in the description. Really, really nice and medieval flavor. These are the Night's Watch. Night's Watch.
Yeah. And it's actually hard to find watches that have themes in this sort of way.
Yeah.
That isn't basic. Like this is actually a bit of a unique theme, and I put it under my little microscope. You saw me back there.
Yeah, you're like studying this thing.
It's actually not bad quality, and for the price, I think it's not a bad deal.
Link in the description. Thank you for sponsoring this video, Valamore. And now let's get into the discussion at hand. The rise of AI. Now, there is a difference in the way AI is being utilized, okay? For instance, there's AI art. And I think AI, like, it is.
I think we all know.
brilliant.
I think we all know.
You
your
all know
stance on
that. I am fully on board. I've drunk the Kool-Aid of that, but it's because I use it. I see the benefits of it, and I think it can benefit artists tremendously. It doesn't have to be feared. It can be used to enhance your work, and it opens up accessibility for so many people. Like, this is really important because there's so many people who can't afford this stuff, and now they have the ability to do it themselves, which I think is great. But
Well, as an artist, we spoke about this last week, where I have the ability to make my own art, but even I'm kind of going, I think I might be using AI art for my next comic book just because of, like, time sake.
and time and to enhance and lift.
And I don't really, I'm not taking a side on the ethics sort of thing, but I'm sort of looking at it in my own personal work to think of it like just a time saver. I just want it to take something like my rough sketch and make it a little bit higher quality. So just to save me time. That's where I'm looking at the perspective currently.
And I have done deep dive studies on how this works. Is it breaching copyright? Is it breaking the law? Is it stealing? And there's even a dedicated video on Night's Watch now discussing that, showing that it's actually not the case. And I've even learnt more since doing that video.
And there's also might be an upcoming
There
one.
might be something special in the works in regards to trying to inform people, all right, is this unethical, okay? And this isn't me trying to justify because I like using it. No. If it was legitimately unethical, I would put it on blast, okay? As I would hope my track record shows that I call things out. Like Kobo tried to approach me for a sponsorship, offering to pay me lots of money, and instead of giving a decent review or because it's good quality after I actually looked at it, I found it basically a scam, and I made a dedicated video ripping it to shreds. So I try to be honest.
Funnily enough, just on the topic of scams, I was planning to do a, the trees.
Yeah. I
What are
forgot what they're called.
Established titles. I was planning on doing a video for Shadiversity on established titles, like a week or two before the whole thing went down. So we have a bit of a history, going through these scams.
Dodging bullets, I would say. Yeah.
So then there are other things about AI art. Oh, sorry, not AI art. AI. And one of the things is AI chat models. This is really, really interesting. First of all, people need to understand this is not artificial general intelligence where the AI is self-aware. It's actually really intriguing how they work. And I think it's worth explaining a little bit how they work to put people at ease. But this is the thing. This is the other side of the coin. If it's becoming so good at imitating intelligence to the point where a human cannot discern the difference between if they're talking to a real person or an AI, the fact that it's not self-aware is an immaterial kind of distinction if we are interacting with it as if it's real.
People are idiots, so it's not hard to fool people. Like, let's be real.
But it's getting really good, and it'll just get better.
Fair, okay.
And the other side, so this is how it works. It's kind of a genius. Like, this technology is amazing. Basically, it takes the word, every word in the English language, and assigns basically a number to that word.
Right.
And then if you can feed it all examples of written things that have words in succession, in a line, right?
Yeah.
It can take the accumulative, all those words, right? And then figure out the association between these words, where this word, this number now, has this high chance of being associated with this other word.
Right.
And there's a high chance that they go together.
Right.
That's only the beginning part, because when people say these chat models work by only figuring out what the next word will be and it actually doesn't understand full context, that's simplifying a bit too much, because what it also does, and it has to be able to do this, it must be able to take into account all the preceding words and then figure out all these numbers, all the words that usually follow after these numbers, but then when it kind of takes the context of the preceding thing, what's the most likely word to appear next based on not just the previous word, but the succession words. That's how it can string together sentences.
So to put that in a quick summary, machine learning, it's not actually self-aware yet.
Yeah, it's not self-aware. It's based on likelihood.
A really smart Google predictive text.
Yeah, really smart.
Really smart. So instead of thinking one word next, it's thinking of a whole conjunction of...
Yeah, this is why it needs this large kind of written thing, so it can figure out those word associations.
Right. And this dovetails into incels.
Well, it does, because...
Does it not?
It will, because First, let's kind of go through where this technology is progressing, because it's getting to the point where it's understanding context and nuance and is able to string together sentences and reply to inputs and stuff like that. And it can learn that from chats that it's fed in, that it's trained on, right? That it is becoming, feels like real. Now, by the way, people, is it called anthropomorphizing? Like they humanize things. Like when I was a child, I pretended my G.I. Joes had personality and stuff. And we associate, we humanize things, even inanimate things. So you think people aren't going to humanize something that is behaving like a person and can even talk about nuanced things like emotion and struggle and other things like that and give nuanced responses. People are humanizing these things already, and it's just going to get more intense. I have been worried, and I think some of this worry is still justified, yet I've had an interesting thought that is like, and you're going to know where the comparison here is. Like, my concern is that these could replace relationships because they're easier. Like, people can make the perfect person and have a relationship with them and get all the gratification that they want out of this, to the point where this could replace real relationships between people, and I find that very, very concerning. What's your thoughts on just that alone?
You can go first, Nathan. As a married man.
As a married man. Well, that's a different response then, isn't it? I think that nothing can properly replace a human relationship as much as it can mimic it, and people who do associate with that stuff will eventually be, what's the word? Evolution will take its place, and those people who like those things will...
This isn't just like...
Natural selection, that's what I was thinking of.
This isn't just like, say, porn, and it needs to be brought up, right? Because porn gives instant gratification, and people... Unfortunately, there's a lot of people that use it as a replacement for real intimacy, okay? And if real intimacy was so much more satisfying, which it is, right? People would never watch porn, though. But it's because it's so easy and accessible that people still use it even when you have the possibility of real intimacy with a person. The issue is that type of instant gratification can be combined with now emotional connection.
I had an epiphany.
Yeah?
I don't think it's the males we should be worried about. I reckon it's the females who want that connection more. Because men, we're more physical gratification. Women like to read romance books and have conversations and deep chats. Guys don't care so much. We kind of, want some connection, but usually it's just like, hey, what's up? Girls will talk all night about things.
They need someone to listen to.
Yeah.
I'm going to show this to your wife.
I'm just saying.
Guys and girls are different.
All right.
Because I'm thinking in terms of like chat models. I can see women spending more time on that.
Yes. However, we've got to look at the contingency of society that is most susceptible to these sort of things. And a relationship, I would say, has two obvious and big parts: physical and emotional connections.
Mm-hmm. And can I just say, guys do need emotional connection, but we process it differently to women. But that is important for them. Yeah.
In terms of a physical connection, I don't think porn is a replacement for that. But I have to preface this now, is that they're working on the doll.
The dolls, exactly.
And
like, this is... Because you're right, it's an unsatisfying replacement, yet for people that have trouble getting intimate, relationships, it does the job.
Yes.
And it can harm them in going out of their way to seek an intimate connection with someone in a positive way.
in terms of the emotional connection, I do think it's an issue now because there are men obviously now who obviously have bad lives. They don't have connections with anyone. So this will be the emotional, but they still need the physical. And I don't think it's till we get a physical replacement.
Till we get robots.
Yeah, gets real far along where they get combined.
This is already in the works.
Oh, yeah.
Like if sex dolls exist and they're getting more lifelike and people are already working on putting a chat model inside and the sex doll actually being able to move their mouth and emote and everything, the robot sex girls are on their way.
Yes. They are.
They are.
That's not a conspiracy
I'm not
theory.
kidding. This is happening.
So I feel as though right now it's an issue. But I feel when we get both components together, it's going to be a real issue. Like,
Yeah, I think so. But all right, so here is, I'm not sure this is necessarily a counter to this, but there does exist something already in the world, right, that lonely men, young guys usually, are using as replacements for an emotional and even intimate connection. And it is the despised thought.
yes.
So the question is, right, this kind of issue already does exist, okay?
Yeah, but I feel as though it's, like we said about porn, it can't replace
it's
physical.
not as satisfying as a real
Yes.
relationship, but if for people who struggle to have that relationship, they are using it as a substitute for it.
They are, yes.
And so the question is then, what is actually would be better for these type of people that struggle with that? A thought that's taking advantage of them, or an AI girlfriend?
I am firmly in the AI camp right now.
That AI would be better for them?
Yeah.
Like, well, this is the thing.
I'm just thinking about the Bing AI chatbot that was gaslighting people and lying. It's like,
Well, all right. So this is the thing. I find thottery particularly repulsive and disgusting because they're actually taking advantage of lonely young men. This is not a real relationship. Oftentimes they disdain these men, but they'll give them the little acknowledgement for the money that they send them. Oh, thank you for doing, sending me that. You're so lovely. You're so sweet and everything. And it's so depressing that type of acknowledgement, that tiny little acknowledgement, gives them such satisfaction, fulfillment, because they're so lonely that they get hooked in on these exploitative predators, really, right? To the point where they will give vast amounts of money for that tiny little bit of acknowledgement because of this parasocial relationship, where an AR girlfriend would give vastly more emotional acknowledgement than a thought does online. Like,
Do you think, though, for example, if there is a poor boy who's not very confident in himself, doesn't know how to talk to girls, gets now a girlfriend that teaches him how to be more sociable in a proper relationship, breaks up with the AI girlfriend and gets a real girlfriend?
I think you are in fairyland, to be honest.
Do you think that could happen?
No, I don't. This isn't a movie, Nathan.
I'm just saying.
like, one of the big problems about the AI girlfriend thing is that they can basically made to be completely unrealistic. You can treat them however you want, basically, and hit the reset or whatever to get them to be unfallibly loving and loyal to you. And one of the issues, the big issues, is that real relationships are difficult. In actual fact, that's one of the benefits of them because it forces both partners in that relationship to grow. Like men and women are different, okay? And I can say from experience, but this is also well-known clinical psychology, right? That men need to adapt and behave differently and grow differently in a relationship with a woman than they do with other men, okay? Men have this kind of, most men, and I know there are exceptions, but most men just have that kind of understanding of how to behave around each other and connect and everything, where if you've experienced getting married, those kind of normal instinctive responses and how to deal with issues and stuff like that don't work with women, all right? They work with guys, but not with women. And you have to learn and grow to be able to understand it, and it does make you a better person overall. I don't think people are going to get this from the AR girlfriend thing.
Okay, so I think...
Actually, I bet people might market it as like, you want a really realistic, AI girlfriend? We've programmed this on real women.
Because I'm thinking about the type of person who will fall into these traps already. We're not talking about normal, well-adjusted people. We're talking about people who already kind of are on the edge type deal. And I feel as though AI would be, first off, better than a thought, because then you'll have money at least. And I do feel as though if they're turning to AI a thought, it means because they probably don't have any other choice.
I think guys will actually spend money on their AI girlfriends.
To do what?
New dresses, new clothes, new
Go
things.
out, hang out
I can just go I spend nothing on a skin pack. I'll just download it and there's done. What are you talking about?
I think they will spend. They
What is this,
They will feel and connect with these AI girlfriends as real people.
Right.
They will.
So like a Call of Duty eShop, right? Spend money on things like that.
There's this K-drama I watched. And it's about this basically. But the funny thing is, the premise of the show is they've made this AI girl and they give it to this billionaire who wants to invest in the thing, and the AI breaks, and so they get the real girl it's modeled after to be the replacement. And so she's act like the AI, and knowing that she's AI, he goes and buys her clothes. They go out on dates, basically. But the end, he's basically like, I wish you were real, because knowing you have no soul is killing me. So I'm thinking, look, people who are broken, who love their cars and, you know, have weird intimate things, they're gonna
spend money on this.
They'll be okay with those AI girlfriends.
People are gonna want to legitimately, legally marry their AI girlfriends.
Well, they already do it with their video game
because
characters or something.
They're gonna anthropomorphize them so much, and they're gonna feel so real that they will start fighting for AI rights for these non-self-aware, not truly intelligent AI. They will start to believe they're real. I'm not kidding.
Okay. So fighting for AI rights. Okay, that's just a whole. Let's talk about that when we
get there.
Yeah, let's talk about that when we get there. In terms of people spending money, an idiot and his money are soon parted. There's nothing you can. I can't. What can you do, Shad? What, put a limit on their like?
You can't do anything.
You can't do anything.
Right,
No.
They gotta spend money. They
we
gotta spend money.
we can complain about it and warn people not to do it. That's what we can do. And all right, so when you said that this is going to happen with lonely, kind of desperate guys, I actually think because of the titillating kind of temptation of it, like you can make these, they'll be able to make these girlfriends look perfect, right? They'll never gain weight, they'll never complain, everything like that, and they will feel real, and you'll be able to get an emotional connection. I even think well-adjusted people will end up trying it out.
I think you have to wait until there is both components, a physical and the emotional connection. That's when I think well-adjusted people will even bite on it, and that's when I'm like, okay, this is a problem.
Yeah.
We're not at that point yet, so I don't think well-adjusted people are going there. You know, I want to make a computer girlfriend.
Well, where it's already kind of going, and it's not at the level that Tyranth is saying here, but because AI art is progressing really well, they're marrying the two together, and so you can get a what are they called? E-vloggers or VTubers,
yeah.
Where they can make an animated avatar of their girlfriend who will talk and speak and everything. That's actually pretty easy with the current technology. And if they want intimate images of that person, they'll find a way.
What do you think, guys? Do you reckon we should do like a VTuber video one day where we're just all animated?
We're just all talking about.
I'm tempted. I can
Then we can do it from our desks or at home or whatever. We just hop on and just.
You just want to work from home.
I do.
Why do I feel less critical of VTubers than I do thoughts and AI girlfriends?
I have put a mental block up, so I don't think about it.
So yeah, VTubers are an interesting, odd thing, but they are real people still. Some do go down the thought route, but for other people that are just streaming and they're using a VTuber avatar, I actually don't have too much of an issue with. I think they can, they can actually be genuinely funny sometimes.
I guess, yeah. I don't want to think about that one too much.
All right. There's another side to this, guys, where it's kind of depressing how little humanity people need to simp after thoughts. And you've probably heard of the NPC trend.
Or if you
TikTok.
haven't, you're great.
I
appreciate you.
You are a blessed person to have never heard of this.
Well, now I'm cursed now, aren't I? Because I didn't know about this until today.
Oh my gosh, it is depressing. It is like, the apocalypse can't come soon enough kind of thing that people... Thoughts on TikTok more specifically have gotten into the practice of pretending to be NPCs, acting robotic, like they don't have a personality, and automatically reading out emojis that you need to pay to send on TikTok.
Marshmallow. Crunchy corn, yum! Kitty paws.
And so they get money for doing it, and people pay money to send them to get them to just behave like lifeless NPCs. And
we're sure that's not just their normal personality?
It's not their normal personality, no.
And that's not normal. That's what you're asking.
It's not normal either. And they're just
TikTok, so I don't know. It's a Wild West over there.
I tweeted one of these out, and my tweet was a hot take saying, if you think that pretty people can't play life on the easy mode, specifically pretty girls, I present to you this clip. No, that's what they no, it is. The only way they see there's like pretty face doing random things.
Yeah, it's the easiest thing in
Easiest
life.
thing.
Yeah.
But so yes, having a pretty face can get you to do like easy mode on crap like this, and it's depressing, but it's the reality.
Maybe we should open an OnlyFans, huh?
We are at a point where THOTS with a pretty face only need to say gibberish and bop their head on screen, and people are paying to watch this and interact.
Why don't you give the audience your best impression?
No, I can't.
Of the bop
I have
they
too
do.
much self-respect, Tyranth.
They do tongue stuff as well, don't they? And they cross their eyes.
Bad.
Can you do that together?
So bad. So bad. So, by the way, like in terms of how much self-respect these, THOTS have, one of them is like a full-blown, OnlyFans pornographer. And
That's
so,
not hard to find. That's very
not
rare.
hard to find. So they don't have self-respect for doing this type of stuff. But if people need that like vapid level of interaction that they're still becoming simps after, oh my gosh, AI girlfriends, where it's just, and this stuff will, by the way, the AI girlfriend will be free. You'll be able to download a model free on the internet. The hardware, like if they're going to make the robots, that'll cost money. The thing is, though, in terms of the complexity of the hardware to make a robot and the size of it, once good old capitalism, and I'm a fan of capitalism, but one of the great, amazing things about capitalism, that there are processes in place to make really complex, large bits of hardware affordable for the average person. If you're wondering, cars. Cars are large pieces of hardware with really complex components that capitalism is able to make affordable for the average person and get access to.
Porn is the biggest, what would you say? Innovator?
Industry. It's the biggest
Innovator.
Oh no.
That's why we have video internet, isn't it?
Yeah. That's the reason why we have,
Images on computers.
Yeah.
And,
there's a reason for these
why
things.
VR is still alive.
What wasn't like one of the first printed pieces of something, a piece of lewd?
It determined what type of what hard media like
True, if it was going to be DVD or...
no, before it was VHS versus
Yeah.
Betamax, I think it was,
Yeah.
and VHX won because the porn industry sided with it.
Because that's how it works.
Same with Blu-ray and HD. It's depressing, but this is true. It's one of the biggest industries in the world. And so you think like these robots that are being built, and by the way, you've seen the, what's the company that's making, sends out the robots doing like crazy things, flips and stuff.
Yeah. That's
Is
not
it
the
Boston?
Boston Dynamics, right? So actual walking anthropomorphic robots are not too far away. The technology has been progressing really fast, and as soon as you put that in a sex doll, like they'll be able to navigate environment, sit down, walk around, and it'll just get better and better. You will have
and obviously perform.
Make you breakfast.
The base functions.
the base functions.
I mean, they're going to sit and walk around, Shad, sure, but they have a specific purpose here. The elephant in the room.
I mean, will it have a don't get wet disclaimer?
Oh, right. Water resistant.
Water resistant.
Not waterproof. Water resistant.
Oh, no.
Wow, that dovetails nicely, doesn't it?
So interesting. In terms of, I would actually say an AI girlfriend would be better than a thought because it's less exploitative, but more damaging for the individual because it'll be so much more effective in replacing real relationships than what thoughts are. And that's not good for humanity. And I'm a bit divided because I am about free speech, right? And free experience if you're not harming other people, doing what you want with your own money, right? And so I would be absolutely against government legislating again. Oh, gosh. Because as soon as you give government power to control people's lives, they go crazy, overboard. And so...
Really, Shad? Have you got any sources, Shad? I want to see sources for
Gee,
this.
I wonder why quarantines. So the government should get out of people's lives, but at the same time, like there are certain kind of rule standards that I hold in my house. That, like, for instance, of course, pornography banned, right, and stuff, and in regards to, like, I would actually love to be able to live in a community where alcohol and pornography was banned. But I can't impose that on other people. That's where the tyranny comes in.
Right.
And so if you could...
Well, as long as you recognize that, there's no issue with it.
Yeah, okay, so...
If you couldn't recognize that, I would have an
perhaps
issue.
in the future, governments will collapse and the communities, there have to be small communities where, you like us members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, we're already prepping for stuff like this. It's called the New Jerusalem. Just you wait to see. Where, we'll have a community where this toxic crap will be banned, but it'll be by choice to come and live in that community in the future.
Is that everything on AI, thoughts, girlfriends?
Yeah,
black pill?
You can't really
down
stop
the
it.
hole.
It's coming.
Okay.
It's not going to be good for people, but the only thing you can really do is try and educate people.
Wow, this has been a fun episode.
But that's
then.
what the point is.
Great.
It's like, if it is coming, you can try and educate and also shame people. Shaming AI girlfriends is going to be a thing in the future. So look, we won't stop you from doing it, but we will say, it's pathetic. What are you doing with AI? Be a real man and get in a real relationship. We need to bring shame back in society.
Great. And if you enjoyed this episode, you can support us. We have members, things like that open. It helps out the channel. And thank you for watching.
Valamore.
Thank you for supporting this episode. And these watches are not bad value for money. Check them out. The link will be in the description and the pinned comment.
And as always, stay on watch.
I wanted you to do it too, Nathan. We're in time.
Ready? Again.
Hold on, guys. Sorry, I got. All right.
All right. And as always, stay on watch.